Hey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This is actually going to be more of like an awareness video, and I wanted to make this because this coming Sunday, which is March 17th, will be the 8-year anniversary of basically me being able to bless somebody else's family by saving a life. And I'm not trying to boast at all by making this video. I just really want to bring awareness to it and show you guys that, number one, it is not, I don't think it's as highly thought about as many people might think. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and try and get into this video, and I'm gonna try not to stutter or have to cut a bunch of parts out, because I think it's really important to bring awareness to it. And I'm basically just going to start from the beginning, which is this is basically a video of how I was able to save a life from leukemia. So back in 1999, when we lived in Virginia, my parents and I think he was my boyfriend at the time, he's my husband now, Jared, we went to the mall and we regularly donated blood. So that was what we were planning on doing, was going to the mall to donate some blood. And while we were there, there was a table, and it was the National Bone Marrow Donor Program. It's called Be the Match. So this is where I did everything. Everything was done through Be the Match, and I'll put the link in the description. And basically it was, once we did our blood draw, we went over to the other booth and it was like, hey, be the match. See if you are a potential match to somebody that is sick with leukemia, those different types of cancers. And all it was a simple swab of the cheek. They just took a little cotton swab and, kind of grazed the inside of your mouth. No big deal. So basically I went there, I filled out the paperwork, did the cotton swab, and I just didn't think anything else of it. So fast forward, now we are military. At the time I was not married, so my dad was Air Force and we moved a lot. And then when I got married, once again, I continued to move a lot because my husband's in the Marine Corps. And I moved a good, I think, 4 times before it actually caught up to me. So basically you give them your address, they contact you, or your phone number, and they contact you if they think you're a possible match. Well, I was in Hawaii at the time, and we were a part of this amazing church called Hope Chapel, and they had a women's conference. And so this was in 2010, I believe. It was the year after my daughter was born. She was born in 2009. And I ended up going to this women's retreat, and what they wanted us to do is make a New Year's resolution. They asked us to make a New Year's resolution. And instead of making a resolution, what I did was I basically just asked God to use me in a unique way that I could bless somebody. So, and that was all that I asked. I didn't ask for a resolution. It was just of God use me in a unique way. Just to let you know, this could be a long story. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. But you might want to grab some popcorn and a coffee or a tea or whatever it is you drink. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So anyways, I was in Hawaii at the time, and my daughter was a little over a year old. My daughter was a little over a year old. And it was January, so it was right after the new year. At the end of January, I received this crazy FedEx envelope in the mail. And it was very strange to me, because I was like, who is sending me a FedEx envelope? Like, why do I get a FedEx envelope? So I opened it, and it basically said, if you are this person, obviously my name was written on it, if you are this person and you still want to be on the Be the Match registry, give us a call, let us know, we have a potential patient for you. So I was like, yeah, of course, let's do this. So I give them a call, and I said, yes, I got this overnight envelope in the mail, and it asks me if I want to continue to be on the registry and if I want to be a potential donor. And I said, of course, yes, let's do this. So they said, okay, great, we have a potential patient, and we need to find out if you're going to be the match. So I told him that was good, let's do it. So then I ended up going the following week to an appointment, and we lived on the windward side of the island, and I had to go to the other side of the island. If you know anything about Hawaii or Oahu, you know what I'm talking about. So basically we lived on the east side of the island, and I had to go to the west side of the island, which was only like, I don't know, a 30-45 minute drive. Not a big deal, but I did have to go to the other side of the island to get tested. So the first day that I went in, I got a physical done, and I got several tubes of blood. So then about 24 hours after that, they called me back and said, you are 1 in 200 people that are a potential match for this patient. I said, okay, we want you to come back and get some more testing done. So I went back the following day, got some more blood work, and I also got another physical. And then about 2 or 3 days later after that, they called me back again, and they said, you are 1 of 6 people that has the potential of donating bone marrow. And I said, okay. And they said, if you want to do this, you need to let us know. If you don't, now is the time to say no. And of course I was going to do it. You know, there was no reason not to. So I said, let's do this. Let's go for it. Whatever else needs to be done, let's do it. So I went in for one more checkup, and they said, you are the match. You are the closest match to this patient without being related to this patient, which they were like astonished by. So that was really neat. I guess I was like an 8 out of 10 versus most people are like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. So they actually took extra blood work to see if for some reason my blood work linked to his in any way, which I don't think it did because he's originally from France. So anyways, after that, they basically just said, okay, you are going to be the one to donate, and we just need to set up a date and time for you to come in and do this. So fast forward about 6 weeks, because it took a total of about 6 weeks, I ended up going into this same clinic, and I went for 5 days straight. And what they did is they gave me an injection called filgrastim. And filgrastim basically takes the mature bone marrow cells out of your bones, and it like brings them to the surface so that when you do the donation, your marrow is easily like attained, I guess. And there are 2 different ways that you could do a bone marrow donation. There's the one in the hip, which is a little bit more painful, but it doesn't require a hospital stay. It requires you to be put under anesthesia. It's basically a minor surgery, so those aren't as common as they used to be, but they do still do those. And I kind of preferred to have that done that way, but because the patient was so sick, they said that it wasn't the best option for him. So I forgot to mention that the only thing that I was told about the patient was that it was a 37 or 38-year-old male, and that he had leukemia. That was the only information that I received in the paperwork. So anyways, I ended up doing the, I think it's called PBSC, peripheral blood stem cell. I can't remember. I'll also link that in the description. I can't remember exactly what it was called. So basically I had to go in for 5 days and get a shot called filgrastim. And that shot, like I said, helps the bone marrow pull out into your bloodstream so that it's easily collected. So what they did is I went in for the 5 days, I got the shot, and it basically makes you feel like you have the flu. You have chills, your body just feels like it's broken, you are very weak and you're very tired. I never got a fever, but you just don't feel good. But fortunately it was just temporary. It was easy to deal with. You know, it was a simple procedure for me. So on the last day they gave you a double shot, so I ended up having 2 different shots of filgrastim, which made me feel even more lousy. But once I did the donation, and probably about 24 hours after the donation, I was completely fine and back to normal. No big deal. It was just a really simple procedure. So like I said, the day that I went in for the actual donation, I had the 2 shots, And sorry, my cat keeps getting in my lap. You're pretty girl. I was in a hospital chair, but it wasn't really a bed. And I can insert the picture of, you know, that I had taken when I was doing the donation. Unfortunately, I was not able to find the picture of me sitting in the chair, but I will insert it in the next video. So I had a needle in this arm. I think it was an 18 gauge needle. So I had a needle in this arm and a needle in this arm as well. And what they did was they drew the blood from this arm, and it went through these tubes and cycled through a machine, and then they put the blood back into this arm. So they didn't really take anything from me other than the plasma, which was a really neat concept, I guess. It was literally this really small bag of plasma, but it was sorry. I think she's needing some lovin's. But like I said, I'll insert the picture. Hopefully you guys can see the plasma and what it looked like. Excuse me. But it was a very simple procedure. The only bad part for me, and this doesn't happen to everybody, but the only bad part that happened was I was about, I think, 4 or 5 hours into the procedure, where I was just laying there with my arms out, getting my blood taken, and I had to go to the bathroom. Well, I started getting really, really cold. I started shivering really bad. And they realized that I needed to go to the bathroom. So they had to shut the machine off, and I had to get up out of the bed. And when I did that, I kind of bent my arms, and one of the needles ended up going through my vein. So they had to take it out. And once they put it back in, they couldn't find the vein anymore. So I ended up having to, they poked me like 2 or 3 more times to try and get it in, and then I ended up having to do it like in my hand right here, which was super painful. But I only had about an hour left to do it on that arm. So total, the procedure lasted about 7 hours. And then once I was done, I literally just rested for the rest of the day. In fact, we went to the beach because we were on Oahu, and I just literally watched the waves for the rest of the evening. I rested, and that was kind of the rest of my day. So on my end, that was everything that happened for me. And then, so what they did is they took the platelets straight from Hawaii, and I think they flew it to Arizona, which is where he lived. And they, did the transfusion, which was not an easy procedure. Apparently he was really, really sick and only given a few weeks left to live. So for him, it was a huge, not a bonus, but a huge life-changing moment to receive this bone marrow. Because literally if he hadn't received it, he probably wouldn't have lived another few weeks. That's what his doctors told him. So his family had pretty much given up on him. So it's an amazing thought to know that almost 8 years ago, on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2011, that my bone marrow platelets were able to save someone's life. So I was able to save someone's life from leukemia. His body was totally torn down and worn out, and my blood was able to change his body and change the sickness that was going on in his body. So I just wanted to share with you guys how important it is when you have an opportunity like this to take it. It wasn't painful. It was barely time consuming. It didn't change my life other than the fact that I was able to save someone's life. It didn't hurt me in any way other than the needles, which is just a minor thing. But when you think about it, they didn't take anything physically from me other than blood. And here I am 8 years later with no issues, no difficulties, and this man has had a chance to share the rest of his life with his family and see, 2 of his daughters get married, or 3 of his daughters get married, and several grandkids later. It's just been a super amazing transformation, and I love that I've been able to watch his family grow. I was able to meet them, which I will probably do a whole separate video on that, because it's probably gonna get a little bit longer than I want it to be. But I have been called 3 times to do the donation, and the second time that I was called, I was actually pregnant with my youngest, and I told them that I couldn't do it for the next 6 months because I was going to be nursing. And then this second time that I was contacted, there was an issue that I wasn't able to donate. I can't remember what it was. But I am still on the registry, and I would do it over again in a heartbeat if I was asked to. It just made me feel really special. I'm very, very thankful to God that He blessed me in a way like that, and blessed another family that they could continue to spend life with their father. So once again, I will leave the link in the description. If you have any questions, please, you can write them in the comments. You can message me on Instagram. It was a really simple thing to do. For me, it didn't take much of anything but time. But I do feel very blessed that God used me in that way, and I just really wanted to share it with you guys and bring awareness to it, so that hopefully this will reach other people, and you guys will also join the registry, and you guys can save lives as well. It's not just me, it's not just your neighbor. Anybody can do this. You just have to be the match, or be as close to the match as possible. So definitely check out the link if you're interested. I highly suggest doing it. It took a matter of a week for my life to change somebody else's life for the positive. So I love the feeling that I was able to help somebody, and it was just really important to me to be able to do this and to be able to share this with you guys. If I even reach one person with this video to get them to sign up for the Be The Match, this video will be 100% worth it. And if I don't, then at least I'm still sharing my story, and I feel privileged to do that. That's what this platform is for, is to share your story and help others better their lives. And so I hope that I did that for you guys. I was just watching Ashley on To Vacuum Do Us Part, and she was talking about how people were offered certain seats, and how they were brought to the front and had like a reserved seat, and she didn't feel like she had deserved that seat. Well, I kind of didn't feel like I deserved the seat that I was put in, but God put me in that seat to be able to help somebody else, and I saved a life. So that was super important to me, and I love that I was put in that situation. So anyways, I will have a follow-up video to this one explaining the rest of the story, but this one is going to get kind of long. So let me go ahead and say goodbye, and if you enjoy this, then give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Also hit the bell so that it notifies you when I post, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Bye!